Third grade, what's up? Hey guys, so excited to be back here with you again. We are learning about animal adaptations this week. So we're talking about how animals adapt and what they do throughout the seasons. Just like you and I, when it's summertime, we wear tank tops, we wear shorts, but when it's wintertime, we may wear long sleeves, jacket, earmuffs, jeans. Animals have to do that too. So even though they don't have clothes, what do they do to change throughout the year? Right? So let's jump in and let's get started. We're going to first start off with our animal adaptations and our plant adaptations videos, and then we'll look into our PowerPoint. Here we go.
Look at all these butterflies. I've never seen this many at once. Yeah, there have been a ton of them lately. Must be the time of year that they migrate. Zoe, butterflies don't migrate. Monarch butterflies do. Really? Why? Well, migration is an adaptation for monarch butterflies. An adaptation is a change a living thing goes through, so it fits better with its environment. But I thought adaptations were physical. Well, some adaptations are physical, but others are behavioral. Physical adaptations happen when organisms gradually develop physical characteristics that help them survive. The bright color of these butterflies is a physical adaptation. The bright color warns predators that the butterfly is poisonous to eat. Colors can make snapping a pick pretty difficult too. When colors help an animal blend into its surroundings, they're called camouflage. Camouflage is a physical adaptation that allows an animal to hide from its enemies or from its prey. Tiger stripes are camouflage. So is the color of a deer. What about chameleons? They can actually change colors. Yep, that's a great example. So is color the only physical adaptation? No way. Lots of physical traits are adaptations, like lungs and limbs in amphibians. How else would they survive on land? Well, millions of years ago, amphibians were underwater animals. The lungs and limbs they have today are adaptations that happened over a very long time. As their environment changed, they were forced to adapt. When organisms pass on important traits that help them survive to the next generation, it's called natural selection. The needed traits are selected and passed on, and other traits that aren't needed gradually disappear over time. Cool. So if those are all physical adaptations, what are adaptations like migration called? Oh yeah. Adaptations like migration are called inherited behaviors or instinct. Inherited behaviors are actions, things organisms do to maximize their survival. The butterflies migrate to survive? Yep. Butterflies migrate to warmer climates where they can survive and find more food. Birds migrate too. Even some kinds of fish, like salmon, migrate. Are there other inherited behaviors? Yeah, hibernation is an inherited behavior. So is playing dead. Playing dead? That's right. Animals like the possum play dead to protect themselves when a predator is near. They freeze. Freeze! Wow, great pick. Yep, thanks. I think I get adaptations now too. Organisms improve their chances of survival in certain conditions through adaptations. Some adaptations are physical, and some are behavioral. Adaptation doesn't happen overnight. It takes many generations to occur. Through natural selection, organisms pass down the traits that increase survival to future generations, while less useful traits aren't passed on and eventually disappear. Nice work, Mia. You rocked that. Thanks. All it took was a little focus.
All right, so that's our first one, talking about animal adaptations. Next, we're going to look at some plant adaptations and kind of compare them is what I want you to do while you're watching these.
Mia, aloha. What's new in Hawaii?
Hawaii is amazing. There's so much to do. I went snorkeling today, and you should see all the different plants and flowers. Look.
Oh, that would make a great painting.
I'm sending you tons of pics, Sam. I swear, plants can grow anywhere here. The beach, the rainforest, the mountains, even underwater. I don't know how they do it.
You'd be surprised how well plants can adapt to different environments so that they can survive.
Plants know how to adapt? What do you mean?
Well, okay. When you went snorkeling, you had to put a mask on and breathe through a tube, right?
Yeah? How else would I be able to breathe underwater?
Right. When you put on the snorkeling equipment, you were adapting so you could survive underwater. The mask and breathing tube were adaptations. Plants adapt kind of like we do. An adaptation is a change a living thing makes in order to fit into its environment. For us, it's easy. We can adapt in a snap, just like you did when you went snorkeling. But it takes a little longer in nature. Plants learn to adapt over time.
Well, the plants I've seen must have done some serious adapting. Look at the ones I saw underwater.
Underwater plants like those adapted their leaves and stems to be flexible, so they can bend and flow with the water.
And look, this coconut was floating. Isn't that cool?
The coconut is actually a seed. By floating, the seeds, or coconuts, can move around instead of just sinking down to the ocean floor.
And this water lily was floating all by itself. How does that work?
Water lilies and other plants that float have air spaces in their stems. This adaptation helps them stay afloat.
That plant floats better than I do.
Looks like it. Hey, let's see the pics you took of the rainforest.
Oh, yeah. Look at these flowers. They were so bright and colorful, but they grew super close to the ground.
That's another adaptation. Bright colors and the low location attract birds and insects that help pollinate the flowers. That's important, since there's almost no wind at the rainforest floor to carry pollen away.
I never would have thought of that. But what about these? They're so pretty, but the guide said they were poisonous.
Well, some plants need to protect themselves from animals or bugs that might eat them. That's probably what the poison was for.
Wow, these adaptations are so smart.
Adaptations are smart, and they're necessary for survival.
What about these? The leaves were huge and super slippery. Is that an adaptation?
It definitely is. It gets pretty dark on the rainforest floor, so those huge leaves make it easy to catch as much sunlight as they can. They're super slippery, so the extra rainwater slides right off.
Seems like plants can adapt to almost anything to survive.
Plants need water and sunlight to survive, but their adaptations certainly make it easier for them to live in tough places like the rainforest, underwater, or even in super hot or cold places like the desert or the tundra. If plants didn't adapt, they wouldn't be able to survive.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I am certainly adapting to the Hawaiian lifestyle.
Love it. I love knowing that plants cannot survive and they have to adapt to. It's so cool to realize that everything happens for a reason, and why does it happen, right? So being able to change your environment and change where you live and change what you eat, and it's just crazy. It's just awesome. I absolutely love it. So let me get this loaded here. It doesn't want to do what I want it to do, of course. Let me try and reload it again. All right, excellent. So here we go. We have plants and animals change in different seasons. Describe how animals and plants respond to changing seasons. So what are the seasons, right? We have spring, summer, fall, and winter. A season is one of 4 parts of the year. Spring, winter, fall, summer. So how do living things respond? We talked about this right in the beginning of this whole video. When a person is going through the different seasons, we dress for the different seasons. Depending on if it's summer, we may be wearing our bathing suit. Moving around the different seasons, we can talk about the snowman. Obviously, winter, she's wearing a scarf, she's wearing gloves. Over in the picture with the baseball cap, we start seeing flowers. So what seasons are these, right? So if you're wearing a bathing suit, what season do you think it may be? Probably summer, right? Nice and hot. What about the snowman? We just talked about that. Winter, good. So now we have the 2 others on the right-hand side. So which one looks like fall and which one looks like spring? Very good. Yeah, the boy with the flower is spring, and then the little lady up in the red sweatshirt, not even sweatshirt, but maybe long sleeves would be more of the fall. So animals have special skills or traits called adaptations that help them survive when the seasons change. The fur of an Arctic fox changes to white during the winter time. How does this help the fox survive? That's so crazy to me. So when a fox is during the summer times, it's more of this gray brown color, but during the winter, its whole coat, it's all of it turns to white. Why do you think this would happen? Why do you think this would be something a fox would want to do? Absolutely, it blends in. It sort of camouflages itself, right? So it can hide better from its predators. Migration. The biggest example of migration that I can think of is that when it becomes cold, the birds start to migrate south so that they can stay in a warmer environment, because birds can't find much food when there's snow, when plants aren't growing, because they eat seeds, right? So migration is traveling from one place to another and then back again. So once it gets warm in their home, they will go back. Birds and butterflies fly south to warmer environments during the winter to find food and stay alive. Reindeers, whales, and other animals also migrate. So think about if a whale is living in Alaska and it's cold, right? During the winter season, it will travel south so that the water is not so cold. Hibernate. So you've probably heard of a bear hibernating before. So hibernation is to go into a deep sleep-like state. So they literally feed and eat everything they can in the fall, and then they sleep almost the whole winter. When an animal hibernates, its heart rate slows down, it needs less food, and it sleeps for a very long period of time. Shedding. So your dogs might do this. Your cats actually might do this as well. So shedding is when you lose fur or hair. To stay warm, some animals grow a thick, heavy coat of fur or hair. But when spring comes, they shed that coat of fur or hair for the warmer season. They don't need all that hair, so they'll actually shed it. How do you respond to the changing seasons? So what I want you to do is I want you to name each season in the chart, and next to it, I want you to tell me what's going on. So I just want you to kind of think about right now, when we get together, we're going to talk about what's something you may do during each season. So what might you do during the spring? What might be something that you wear, and so on. So if you need to stop and pause the video and kind of think about that, just to prepare yourself for when we meet, perfect. All right, every year some species of butterflies travel a very long distance when the temperature begins to drop. Where are these butterflies probably traveling? A, to a drier climate, B, to a cooler climate, C, to a wetter climate, or D, to a warmer climate. So why would butterflies be traveling? Yes, absolutely, to get to a warmer climate. Great job. Which of these is an example of an animal responding to a seasonal change? A squirrel storing food to eat later, a lizard sunning itself to stay warm, a clownfish hiding in a sea anemone, or a monkey using its tail to climb trees. So which one would be an animal adapting to the season? Absolutely A. Yes, they're storing that food so that they can eat it later, because they know when it gets cold outside, they're not going to be able to find much food. So they're going to store it and keep it in safekeeping. All right, so let's talk about plants in the seasons. Plants also change during different seasons because they have special traits. These traits cause plants to adapt to their environment. So down in the bottom left-hand corner down here, we see different colors of the trees. We don't see much change in Florida because we are typically warm all year round. But in the middle of the United States, or even in our northern states, we will definitely see the trees change more. Even if you travel up into Georgia or Virginia, you will definitely see these trees start to change and get orange. So spring, temperatures are warm during the springtime. Plants begin to grow leaves and small flower buds. So they start to grow or blossom. During the summer, temperatures are hot during the summertime because there is more sunlight. There's plenty of rain to help the plants grow bigger leaves and flowers. So they just started to bloom in the spring. So now during the summer, they're going to really blossom and open up. And this is when your reproduction is going to start. Fall. Temperatures start to cool off during the fall season, and plants respond by changing the color of their leaves, and the leaves begin to fall off the tree. There's not enough sun, so the plant or tree cannot make enough food to keep these leaves all surviving. Winter. So think about the temperature. Yes, definitely way colder. And there is less direct sunlight, which means you're going to have less growing. Absolutely. Leaves have fallen off some trees, and there's very little growth to the plant. So which of the following responses is a result of a seasonal change from a cool season to a warmer season? So think about a plant if it's really cold, and then now it's getting warm. What's going to happen to that plant? How is it going to change? A raccoon grows a thicker coat of fur. B, an oak tree grows new acorns and leaves. C, a birch tree's leaves change color and then fall off. Or D, a frog digs into the mud and sleeps for several months. So we're going from really cold to warm. So maybe winter into spring. What would be happening? What's the one thing that's going to change? Absolutely B. Yes, that oak tree grows new acorns and leaves. It's going to start to blossom. It's going to start to grow and get more sunlight from the spring and the summer. This chart below shows the behavior some forest animals use to survive a seasonal change. So based on the chart, what type of seasonal change was happening when the chart was made? So we see our numbers over here, 10 to 90. The hibernation is at 50. Migration is really high. And then most animals grew thicker fur. So what do you think is happening during this season? Do you think it was getting drier? It was getting wetter? It was getting colder? Or it was getting warmer? What do you think happened during this time? C, yeah, for all those animals to be migrating and growing thicker fur and even taking long naps, it definitely was getting colder. All right, guys, you did so awesome. Third grade, I know we are going to jump into a little activity to go along with this. Go ahead and do it on Tuesday, and we'll meet up on Wednesday and discuss and share some of our findings. Other than that, you guys are amazing. Stay cool, stay safe, and I will see you soon. Bye, guys.